Okay, we'll chat about something here. Everybody is talking about Donald Trump. The states, oh my God, the state. Thank God we're Canadians. We are so lucky to be Canadians. We trust our politician. We don't have ICE here in Canada. You know, everything's fine. But let me tell you something. Everything is not fine. I'm getting old. Duh. We're all getting old. DOG. Still there, looking after medheads. Don't know for how much longer. But I'm getting what you call flashbacks. And I do not like these flashbacks. And one flashback came to my mind about 10 minutes ago. That's why I'm doing this. And I totally forgot about it. But then, bingo, comes back. It was when Andrew McDonald and Dan Bissiere, just go to YouTube, write Charles LeBlanc, Dan Bissiere. I'll send a link with this video. They arrested me at the legislature. Okay? Now, okay, I got the video. But once I got at the police station, this is the scary stuff. And I have to go look back to find out who was the guy. There was a guy that had papers already, a cop. And he told me, he said, now you sign your name to this. If you don't sign this, you are going to go to jail. What's that? You are not allowed. Now, I just started blogging then, right? Just started blogging. He says, you are not allowed to talk to one politician until your court date. Said, I'm not allowed to talk to a politician. No, you're not allowed. If you're not, you're going to jail. I said, some of my best friends are politicians. Abel LeBlanc. I said, I guess I that. Okay, so next thing you know, I remember Rob Costello, the guy there, police officer that got shot. He showed up. There was a big book, a book of law or something. They went in the back room. And next thing you know, he looks at me, come back out, and he says, get out of here. I said, what? Am I supposed to sign papers not to talk to a politician? Get out of here. So what happened, they turned around. I was supposed to go on trial because they banned me from the legislature, and I wasn't supposed to set foot at the legislature, and I consider myself a journalist. And they said, you're not a journalist, you're a fucking pain in the arse. So what happens? Dan Bissiere would have showed up with hours and hours of videos of me at the legislature, and they're not supposed to be there. So the trial would have lasted about 2 or 3 months, see all these videos and all that. So at the end, it was dropped. It was dropped. But just to think about telling a citizen you're not allowed to talk to a politician, that's bad. Number 2, flashbacks. When they raided my place and falsely accused me to be a pedophile, that's not nice. They say he takes pictures, he has no kids, he lives alone, he has to be to chop one. They rented this place, my little space. Now, next thing you know, they kept my computer for 3 months. That's like me doing like down the States. And then they found out they didn't find nothing. They didn't find nothing. Like my little private thing, they invaded it. I wish I could do the same thing to them. But another scary part, and I won't mention no names, but we have an individual that's a lawyer, a pedophile. Now, to accuse somebody to be a pedophile, that's a serious accusation. But me, I have facts. I tackle Ted Fleming. I had a meeting. I told him the name. I told him what was going on. I won't say here. He said, how are your facts? I told him my facts. I told him what I want them to do. The New Brunswick Law Society, I contacted the RCMP, and nothing is done. Ted Fleming told me the New Brunswick Law Society they don't want to do nothing. Okay? Next thing you know, Robert McKee, the new Minister of Justice, I contacted him. I told him the whole story again. I said, Robert, I want you to do something. I don't want to go public with this. Just do the arrangement, and then I'm leaving this issue alone. And guess what? Him also, he can't do nothing. This is very, very serious. So you talk about down the States. Canada were not much better. You have my issue, and my issue, I told about 100 people. And they look at me and they said, you serious? I said, yes, I'm serious. And when I see the Liberals, I will go public. I'm not going to do a video. But what we must do, any pedophile case in New Brunswick, we must have a judge and prosecutor and duty counsel from outside of the province. Because if the New Brunswick Law Society support this, we have a major problem. To have the justice system to support this individual, whatever, I won't mention no names, could be enough trouble as it is now. But it's bugging me. I don't know if you got to start protesting with his name and put it in public, and people say, well, what? He's a lawyer. Come on, that's impossible. You know, it's ridiculous. It is not. So you have a police force that falsely accused, and let's not forget, Judge Mary Jane Richard signed papers to a warrant to raid this place. And she's a judge to accuse me to be a pedophile. And the RCMP sexual child exploitation was all here. And I will add, Roger Brown, Malcolm Gadet, Scott Patterson, what's her name, Kimberly or whatever, the female, and Gary Forward, they all apologize. And then they said, Gary Forward, what do you want us to do? Give an apology to the newspaper? I said, what newspaper? There's no newspaper. They won't give me a piece of paper. They all apologize in the room to falsely accuse me to be a pedophile. Okay, no problem. But then I said, okay, hold it. Why don't something about like this? Oh, no. That's a civil suit. But you can't get no lawyers. Because if you have a lawyer, like if this was in Quebec or Ontario, I would be a millionaire. But this has nothing to do with me. Did I just say that? Hey, service dog, come and do your job. This is the issue of saying we're much better off than the States. We are not. Trust me. I think we're worse here because they could go after people and really, really do some people some serious harm. And you have some bad people that's put on a pedestal. No, this is not right. And guess what? I'm not going away.